Hi guys. So, thanks for joining. Just going to give a few minutes for people to kind of come in and see who's joining. See, there's a couple of you on so far. Awesome. When you come in, just comment where you're from. Unega. Hey, Kevin. Kevin, I'm glad you're with us, brother. So, I'm playing on my computer at the same time to see if I can share this. I can. Alright, so you're going to see me doing some goofy things here, but I'm going to try and share this into some groups as I'm talking to you guys. Hey, Lindsay's with us. Hey, Lindsay. So I don't know if you guys have seen yet, but a good friend of mine, Scott, put together a 9-minute video of the first 2 hours from November 20th on the bridge. It includes a really, really important interview with Lindsay, who's actually with us right now. You guys can all say hi to Lindsay. She talks about the tear gas. So there's a few things that I want to catch people up with today. And I'm kind of typing at the same time here, so just bear with me. So this will get going in a second. I'm just working on sharing this out into some groups so that people can see us as we're live. Because I've got a laptop in front of me now, which is kind of a blessing to be able to do this. But I'm learning, so we'll see. Good evening, Wayne. Sophia Walensky's father's with us. I was actually on the phone with him today, talking to him about a couple of things regarding Sophia, to see how she's doing, and also talking about some of the things that are happening that are coming up. So there's a few things I want to talk to you guys about, just generally about myself, some things that happened in my personal life, because I know you guys like to know about stuff like that. Interesting, my connection's weak. That's really strange, because I'm on Wi-Fi. Maybe this phone isn't my phone still. It's come back. It's the first time I've seen that all day. My phone's been behaving perfectly until the minute I come onto Facebook, and then I start to go a little screwy. So that's really interesting. Yep, that was the first thing I was going to tell you guys. I have now got a girlfriend. Her name's Stephanie, and we're going to be working together in this upcoming year, continuing bring the spotlight to some of the environmental issues that are still raping Mother Earth, still helping people and showing people how to live in peace and unity and love. Yeah, my poetry's on the agenda for people that are saying hello. Hey, someone down in Florida. Oh, Sharon, thanks for sharing it with the Sable Trail Pipeline friends. That's awesome. That's really cool. I'm seeing some questions coming in, and I'm just answering them as I go. Yes, I did get a car. I got a 2001 Jetta. Unfortunately, the engine light's on, the passenger door doesn't want to open, and it's covered in about 1/4 of an inch of solid ice right now. So, you know, I've got a car. We'll see how far it goes and how long it goes, but I've got a car. Evening Fur. Fur actually put together the album cover for my upcoming poetry CD. So you guys that were asking about my poetry, I have just sent the final copies of the album to Copycats up in Minnesota. Looking at having that available, and I'm going to be using the funds that come in from the poetry album to continue on this path to shine the light on the environmental issues, the pipeline issues, and much, much more, so that we can move forward with peace and unity on this planet and come together. So one thing I wanted to talk to you, and I had a list and I left my list in the living room, so I'll be back. I could either go and grab that list, or actually that list is going to make its way to me. It's on a notebook, and then I've got to find it. But I wanted to touch on a few things. So, still getting a lot of questions about the money. Wanted to update you guys on the money from Standing Rock that was raised for the water protectors there. Obviously, with everything that went on, winterizing a camp that's being taken apart right now doesn't make any sense. So, I have been in talks with someone who is related to the International Indigenous Youth Council, and I'm looking at ways to be able to donate some of the funds to that. and also to use some of the funds for the continued battles with the water protectors. Now, any of the funds that go to the International Indigenous Youth Council, obviously they may well choose to use that for Standing Rock or any of the other fronts that they're going to be working on. So what I wanted to make sure with that money is that as people have donated their hard-earned cash, I don't want it to go to something where it's just going to be wasted and be a hole in the ground. So I wanted to make sure that it can be used in the best way possible to continue this fight, to protect Mother Earth, to protect these lands, and to stop these pipelines. So that's what's happening with that money. Already a lot of it's been spent. We're working out exactly how much has been spent. There was a lot of stuff that was spent on heaters and propane, shelters and stuff that was already used at Standing Rock. That's all got receipts and everything. So everyone that's worrying about the finances, you don't need to worry anymore. That's in hand. And as to regards the tax ramifications, I had some good news on that. As none of the donations were more than $14,000, then it's all counted as gift, so I'm not tax liable for anything. So I don't have to worry on that about dispersing the funds in the way. So we're all good on that. That's golden. Now I did get today, I don't know if you guys saw the interview that Jordan from the Young Turks did. He interviewed my very good friend Kelly Love. Now, for you guys that don't know, a lot of you asked me kind of how I came to Standing Rock and what was happening. So, I was actually in Indiana at a small gathering, poetry, music, cooking together, sharing stories. It was a Medicine Tribe gathering. And Kelly Love and the One Tribe actually turned up to that Medicine Tribe gathering and performed and spoke a bit about Standing Rock. So that was back in, oh my goodness, that was back the beginning of October, I believe. And from there, from Indiana, I went with a non-profit to Mississippi Stand in Iowa, which was the Sandusky, Keokuk area, where the pipeline from the Dakota Access was being put underneath the Mississippi River. I went there for 1 day to help drop off a kitchen and leave supplies, and ended up staying there for a month, camping there, and started to cover on some of what was happening there. And then it was Jill Stein's Iowa state coordinator, Chris Lawson, who helped put together a U-Haul full of donations for Standing Rock. And I came up to Standing Rock with that U-Haul, and then I ended up staying at Standing Rock. And then while I was up at Standing Rock, obviously on the night of the 20th, that's when everything went viral. I was blessed to be able to live stream. A lot of the atrocities were happening that night for over 7 hours. That footage was shared by Jill Stein. That footage was shared by Bernie Sanders, and it had 4.5 million views on Facebook alone. It's been used in numerous media outlets. It's been used in numerous blog stories. It's on all over YouTube. As you will have seen today, there's now a 9-minute video that's up on my wall that I implore all of you to share. We need to send that viral because it highlights a lot of the things that happened that night. So I implore you guys to share that. I put it up early. It's already had close on 10,000 views, which is amazing. So talking about Kelly Love. So Kelly Love, I made a blog post from Jordan's interview that's out on my website, and you can read the transcript of that interview. But I wanted to touch on some of the main things. Now, Kelly was one of the first water protectors to be arrested at Standing Rock. They got up there on the 8th of August and started to help at Sacred Stone. They went up there with the original part of the Indigenous Youth Council, International Indigenous Youth Council, with the runners there. They'd been praying with them, I believe, in Washington, and then they caravanned up with them to Sacred Stone. And on the 11th was the first day of action. And they continued their prayer and their chanting, and they went onto the land. Now, there was no police blockade there. There was no sign saying that they weren't allowed there. And they sat to peacefully pray and meditate and to chant, and 11 of them were arrested. So, including Red Fawn, she was the first woman to be arrested at Standing Rock. Now, from that point, their trial is coming up on Monday. And I got to speak to Kelly on the phone today, and she told me some really alarming things. I wanted to point out a couple of those things. You know, when it comes to a trial, there's some really important things. If the judge and the attorney know each other, then there's law out there that says that any communication they have between each other has to be disclosed to all parties involved. They can have no private communication. It's called ex parte. I'm hearing that ex parte is still going on between those people. She also mentioned to me that with the jury and looking at the jury, some of the jury have anti-water protector memes on their Facebook pages. They have anti-Standing Rock things on their Facebook pages. And these are the people who are going to be members of the jury to try these 11 water protectors. Now, she also mentions that before a trial, both the defence and the prosecution have the ability to put motions to the judge. So far, the prosecution have made 5 motions, and all of those motions have either been passed by the judge or they're pending. There's one that's pending, and what the motion is, the prosecution have asked the judge to disallow photographic and video evidence and to not allow the defendants to speak either about environmental issues or about the treaties. Now, the defence have put in 29 motions. They have 5 different attorneys. They've all put in motions separately. All 29 motions pre-trial have been turned down. Every single one. That in itself is alarming. What's even more alarming is if the defendants are being charged. Let's look at this from another angle. Let's say I come to your house and I'm on your land and I'm arrested for being at your house on your land. And when it goes to trial, I'm not allowed to say that I was at your house with permission to be on your land and you said it was okay and it's your land. I can't mention the land, I can't mention the house. How can I defend myself? So in this case, the water protectors are being told they can't talk about the treaties. Well, the treaties are what talk about whether the land is actually Army Corps land or whether it's still treaty land. So if you're on treaty land, you can't be trespassing. So not being able to use that in their defence at all is ridiculous. And the other thing is not being able to speak about environmental issues, about the pipeline. So that's just some of the things pre-trial. The other thing that Kelly spoke about was the fact that some of the defendants have public defenders. And those public defenders were only given to them a few hours or a couple of days before the trial. So they have no relationship with these public defenders at all. So they asked for a continuance, and the motion for a continuance was denied as well. They also asked about having the trial moved because Bismarck, North Dakota, they don't feel they're going to get a free trial, a fair trial. So a lot of this stuff that's going on there is, you're right, it is obnoxious, it's unbelievable, it's unconstitutional. You're supposed to have the right to a trial, a fair, unbiased trial, and that's being denied. They also, there's a motion. They've asked all the attorneys to keep track of all their expenses and their hours, because should the water protectors lose, they want to hold them financially responsible for the costs involved. Now, we have the right, if you cannot afford an attorney, to have a public defendant. So they are asking that these water protectors are forced to pay for the costs should they lose, which again is ridiculous. Yes, they are being put in. Yes, they did put in for a change of venue. That was denied. So this needs sharing out. That blog post from earlier, I'll put it in the description here. It needs to be shared out. Also, the fact that before their pre-trial, only 8 hours before, they were given a whole Kelly was given a whole bunch of other charges. Originally it was criminal trespass, and there were lots of other charges thrown on there as well. You'll see all of those in the blog post. Jordan from Young Turks and Kelly had that conversation in the interview. So You'll see all that in the blog post, so I implore you to share that blog post. I'm going to put it in the comments at the top here as well for you. So this is happening at Monday at 8 o'clock in Bismarck, North Dakota, at the courthouse. So people need to turn up there. If you can't be there, I ask you to sit in prayer for these people, because there's Kelly Love, there's two of her brothers from her band, One Tribe Movement. There's also Red Fawn, and there's also other water protectors as well. I don't have full information for everyone that's going to be there. So I ask you guys, there's numbers at the top. There will be numbers at the top of this, so you can call Morton County, so you can call the court, so you can call the White House, so you can call the federal, so you can call the governor and say that this isn't right. Let them know. Let your voices be heard. Because these water protectors are being railroaded. And right now they face up to 30 days in jail. They face 6 months probation, as well as obviously the cost of the courts and everything involved. So I wanted to share that with you. Personally today I've reached out to the New York Times, I've spoken to Al Jazeera, I've spoken to NBC, I've spoken to CNN, I've also spoken to someone else whose name's escaping me right now. I've spoken with the Daily Haze, with Miko at the Daily Haze. I've spoken with Claire at the Free Thought Project. I've tried to get hold of Justin with the Collective Media, the Conscious Media Collective. This is going to be going out through the Anonymous Network as well. But we need to share this message. This is the first trial for the water protectors. So you're right, they're trying to put fear, because this trial sets precedent for the 500 plus water protectors that are going to come after this. So this isn't just about these 11 people. This is about every single person who's going to go on trial after this. And it's not about just being found guilty. It's about being able to sue the North Dakota police force, about able to sue the court system for not holding a fair and free trial. So there's all these things that are involved. I don't have any of the reasons for that. They're going to come out indeed. So I ask you to just support Kelly, to support Jordan Walker, to support everyone else that's appearing on Monday. If you can't physically be there, then to sit in prayer, to share this out, to share this live feed out so that people know about it. For all the people on here that are trolling and making rude comments, 90% of the time, if I go and look at those comments, they relate to someone who lives in Bismarck, North Dakota. So it just goes to show how that venue is not a fair place to have those trials, and that needs to be changed. So I appreciate everyone who's joined on this today. As for my personal next moves, as I said, my poetry CD will be out soon. I'm having my website worked on. I'm also in talks with Miko from the Daily Haze. There's some things that we want to do to try and stop not just this pipeline but every single pipeline regarding a petition. You will see more about that coming soon. I'm going to be working with Miko on that. We just confirmed that today. And also my next point of call, I'm going to be making my way to Florida along with Stephanie to go down to the Sable Trail pipeline. I've been called to that many times recently, not just through messages from people here, but when I went to Omaha to meet with my spiritual family and had their dinner, there was something that was read out that night from a lady who does water ceremonies all over the world, and it was specifically talking about the Sable Trail pipeline. So Spirit's spoken, the universe is telling me what I need to do next, and Florida is where I'm going to be heading. So everyone who was asking about that, so I'm going to start doing some research on Florida, going to look at exactly how that's working. I'm not sure if they're still blocking my feeds. I see my feed is frozen on my computer screen, which is really interesting because I'm still talking fine on my phone. So I would guess there are some interference going on still. I don't know where's Jordan going to be from Young Turks? Let's get quite. Steph, can you look on your phone and see if you can pick up my live stream?
Phone's over there.
That's alright, just walk behind me.
Will you grab it?
1 sec, I'm just checking something, guys, because right now I'm frozen on my computer screen. Am I frozen on your screens?
I gotta get my phone turned back on and everything.
Interesting. Maybe it's just me. Cool. Must be an issue with my laptop. I have got 3 million notifications right now running on it. That's all good. Hey, Christina from the Mississippi Stand site. Awesome to see you. And I saw that we had Scotland coming in. Thank you, Scotland, for supporting. And I ask you guys, please all share this. Please subscribe if you're not subscribed to these live feeds. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. I'm going to continue having things shared out there. And please continue to look at my website. That's going to be changing in the upcoming days and weeks. And you'll be able to find more information there. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else I wanted to cover. Yeah, if anyone out there has links with any of the big press, NBC, ABC, CNN, any of those places, if you can tag them when you share it, if you can ask them to reach out. Kelly Love is willing to interview. She wants to talk about this, because the best way we can protect these water protectors is by putting the spotlight right on this trial. Because if there's no one watching, you're right, they can get away with doing many things. But if the eyes of the world are on that court on Monday at 8 o'clock and people know what's happening, it's going to be a lot harder to have an unfair trial and to put these water protectors and charge them with things that are just trumped up charges. Now, one thing that was interesting was Jordan mentioned in his interview with Kelly, they spoke about Amy Goodman and how the fact that Amy Goodman has such a following on Twitter, she has such a platform to speak from, that when she got to court, everything that got thrown out. Well, guess what? These people don't have this huge following. So we need to give them that huge following, so that they can't be railroaded, and so that they can't set this precedent for every other single case that's going to be tried. Oh, they are going to have media in the court. I believe they're going to have the local Bismarck TV station. And then I know that Kelly had approved one of their own people to go in as media. So if anyone can get there to the court and they can audio record what's in there, because you're allowed to be in the courtroom, so audio record what's going on in that courtroom, because that needs to be taken and that needs to be shared. Hey guys, I see people going backwards and forwards with comments on this feed. If people have got something, I was once told, if you've got nothing nice to say, it's better to say nothing. And that even applies if people are talking bad about me. It's fine, I've had plenty of that, I can handle it. Don't give them the energy. If they come in here and want to cause trouble, and you guys all buy into that trouble, they're going to keep coming back here because it's a fun place to cause trouble. If we all ignore them, or we just give them a hug and say we love them and that's it, they'll soon disappear and find something else to go and do. There's a civil rights lawyer. If there's civil rights lawyer, if anyone has specific information about this, please go ahead and you can email me at letyoursoulplay@gmail.com. Please feel free to go ahead. Jazzy, I know you're not usually allowed to record in a courtroom, but there's some documentation in place that's allowing certain media to record in that courtroom. I had this through the conversation with Kelly Love today. So, I've got... Sorry, I'm reading things. I've got messages popping up on my computer screen, and I've got messages popping up on here. So, for people that are just joining, this is about the court case on Monday for the first 11 water protectors who were arrested back on the 11th of August. So, some of the issues that I spoke with Kelly Love, she's one of the water protectors. She's a good friend of mine. She's a friend of Shailene Woodley as well. So some of the issues are, before the case, there have been 5 motions put by the prosecution to the judge that have all been either approved or one's pending. The pending one is to deny the ability to use photographic or video evidence and to not allow the defendants to speak about either the treaties or the environmental issues. Now that's ridiculous. The defense have put in 29 motions, all of which have been denied by the judge. The jury, some of the jury have anti-Standing Rock, anti-water protectors memes on their Facebook page. And the list of things like this goes on. The judge and the prosecuting attorney know each other from a long time back, and there's a rule around communication between them called ex parte. And when they communicate, it's supposed to be on record, and it's supposed to be in front of the defense so everyone can be part of it. And that isn't happening. Apparently that's being broken right now. They've asked to move the trial. They've been refused to move the trial. Some of the people have only just recently been given public defenders, so they haven't had time to build a relationship with those people that are actually they're actually defending them in court. So they asked for a continuance. That was denied. So they're being railroaded as much as possible. So what we all need to do is put that light right on that courtroom, as many people as possible, to get into Bismarck on Monday, go to the courthouse, make sure there are people there. Make sure that you can live stream if you're there. If you're in the courthouse, you can audio record. You can make notes. But most of all, just making sure these people have protection, because these are the first 11 out of over 500 people going into court. What happens here is going to set the precedent for every single case afterwards. I don't know anything about law. No, you're correct. I am simply communicating what was communicated to me by Kelly Love herself, what is in the interview with Jordan and Kelly from Young Turks. You can find that on the blog post. I spent hours this morning transcribing that and making a blog post from it. And I've also spoken today with Sophia Walensky's father, who's going to be mentioning this when he speaks with the press regarding Sophia, when they come out with their statement. So we're trying to bring as many eyes onto this as possible. Hey Matthew, thank you for joining, Matthew. We're going to be doing some more stuff together. Your stuff on Standing Rock has been incredible and helped bring a really big eyes to this. If you can do anything regarding this particular issue, if you can look at my blog post when I get off of this, can we have a call? Comment in the comments. I know you're watching. I know you're messaging me right now, but I'd love to have a personal conversation with you, Matthew, and see if we could go ahead and get some more interesting things out. Hi, Kale. I don't know if Indigenous Rising Media or any of those people will be able to be in the courtroom. I'm not sure. As you know, I'm not at Standing Rock right now. I've been taking some time to recover from what I saw. It's still sinking in what I saw. I mean, I watched that 9-minute footage, and that was hard to watch. And I have to keep watching this footage and looking at things to keep sharing the story. So if you haven't seen, there's a 9-minute YouTube video with closed captioning that shows a lot of what happened that night. It shows a really amazing interview with Lindsay Norton. She had just come back from being gassed, and there's an interview with her while she's still recovering from being tear gassed, and she talks very, very, very intelligently about what's happening there. So I'm going to put all those links to the top of this feed when we finish here for you guys. And then the other thing is I'll be joining the Sable Trail Pipeline in the new year. I'm going to be working with Miko Hayes from the Daily Hayes. My girlfriend Stephanie's going to be joining us hopefully in the very start of the new year. We're going to be down somewhere in Kansas setting up and getting some video stuff together. Matthew John, we might need your help on that. And I don't know if the mainstream media are going to be covering this court case. That's what I'm asking. Some of you must have an uncle or an aunt or someone out there that is in mainstream media that you can show this to, that you can ask to cover. There's the link to the blog post going at the top. And those people that are coming in late and asking about the donations, a lot of the donations were already spent for Standing Rock. The remaining donations we're looking at getting to the International Indigenous Youth Council, who helped start the movement with Standing Rock alongside the Standing Rock Sioux Nation youth, and also using it for water protectors to continue fighting pipelines on every level. You will see there will be a new GoFundMe coming with regards to the work me and Miko are going to be doing. We're going to be asking you guys to help promote that, and that's going to be looking at trying to stop the money that's coming into these pipelines to invest in them in the first place and put a stop to this in another way. So guys, I appreciate everyone joining. If you haven't yet subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe. If enough of you share this and tag the mainstream media, that will help as well. If you all want to go ahead and block Ellie White, I'm going to hazard a guess that she's from Bismarck, North Dakota, because she types the same thing that everyone from Bismarck types every single time. So go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead, check out my website, and go ahead and make sure that you share this. Share the 9-minute video. I'll put all the links at the top of this in the description. And I'm going to call this to an end. And I'll be back with you guys again soon. So appreciate everyone that's joined. And yeah, I'd love to be paid. If anyone wants to pay me for doing any of this, that'd be great, because I don't have an income source. I had the donations that came in from PayPal. I used some of that for the car, as you see, and some of that to repair the car. Some of that for a laptop that sat here so that I can do this. Some of it to pay the phone bill, which was ridiculous. It was like over $700 for the phone bill. And going forwards, I'm going to need some source of income. So people have spoke to me. Apparently the Green Party are looking for people to report for them. Apparently Young Turks are as well. So I'm trying to look at that. So if anyone has specific information on that to save me doing the homework, if you can email me at letyoursoulplay@gmail.com, that would be fantastic, because I am looking at ways to have some money coming in so I can continue doing this and get around the country. Because you're right, I do need money coming in to do this, and I'm not paid to do this. And as much as I'd love it if that 42 grand that was raised for Standing Rock was mine, it's not. And we spent a lot of it. So all these people that are accusing me, it makes me really mad. It makes me laugh. Because if you could see how I lived and see the things I had, it just becomes silly. So anyway, I'm not going to talk to that anymore. I just find it hard not to, because it's frustrating on a huge level. If you haven't stood in my shoes, if you haven't stood and watched people be tear gassed, if you haven't heard those cries of medic and stood in the cold for over 7 hours videoing that, then you will never know the effect it has on you. If you haven't seen firsthand, the first thing the next morning, the pictures of someone nearly losing their arm. You know, I went to a peaceful protest. I didn't expect to see things that you see in a war zone, things that scar you for life. So you guys, if you've got nothing better to do than come on here and throw accusations, then maybe find something better to do with your time, because I love you, and it makes me sad that you have so little love in your life that you want to take down some of the people who are doing their best to spread love in the world. So on that note, guys, I appreciate you all joining. I'm going to sign off and catch you all later. Take care. Bye-bye.